feel very humbled to be here today in the presence of holy souls who I understand contemplation of God's descent on earth is ever on your mind, heart and soul. And the invitation came to me through one of my juniors, Aljo Joseph, who worked in a chamber some time ago. And when he asked me to be here today, I asked myself a question as to in what way I am qualified to be here and to speak and address women and men of holy congregations. I still have the doubt, but I think I'm not here as the Attorney General for India. I am here as an ordinary human being. And to speak in congregations like this need a special mind, a special focus, and a special understanding. I hope I am blessed even for a short while to have all the three of them. Human history is riddled with a lot of questions. As a student of law, I have to be necessarily a student of human history. When we talk of human history, we look at the entire world and how human civilizations in different parts of the world, with different countries, with their own contributions to culture, civilization, human understanding, and ultimately for peace and goodness for all, we still have a good question. And why is that? Despite the wonderful, miraculous body that God has given to us, and something unfathomable like the human brain that God has given to us, we still have a long way to go before we can say we are all at peace. Historians of violence say that in 20th century, violence has come down. But one wonders, is it really true? Maybe at some level violence has come down. We do not have world wars. We do not have inter-country wars as what happened maybe in the 18th, 19th centuries. We do not have the war of crusades which happened for 300 years in Europe, but we still have other kinds of wars. We still have other kinds of battles. We still have serious differences between people, civilizations, and societies and countries. In this very challenging times, well, humanity on the one level says we have made huge progress in understanding technology, science, and so on and so forth. We have other kinds of challenges. In the midst of all these challenges, as a humble citizen of India and a common human being, I think my understanding always has been, if at all I study law, I must study everything about what law can do for the rest of humanity. Having studied in Loyola College, Madras, I remember the first day when I entered there and a huge bedroom hall with this wonderful library, and my introduction to a famous philosopher in India called Jiddu Krishnamurti. His book is Freedom from Known, was given to me for a friend of mine. That title of the book itself was something very revealing. So for a long time I've been trying to understand, what do you mean by freedom from the known? All of us condition our minds by many things, by our identity, by faith, or by religion, and so on and so forth. I thought what Krishnamurti was talking about is that whatever we may belong to, we must still strive for a freedom, that all our freedom is not merely individual, but a freedom for all humanity. But how do we really do that? I'm not here to teach reverend souls who know much beyond my limited understanding of what is freedom for all. I do not propose to talk about law and constitutions, etc. But in the midst of all the challenges that are happening today, look at our neighboring Nepal. Look at what Sri Lanka is going through. Look at Bangladesh is going through. India stands as the highest, level of values for peace and living together. And of course, it's important for the Indians that we stand with our country, that our freedom, which has brought has such a huge value for sacrifices of long number of unknown women and men whom we could not probably even remember and recollect. Our freedom is important for us. And whoever has contributed to the freedom, but I think it's important that we continue to contribute to this freedom. And what do you mean by freedom? Freedom from hunger, freedom from want, freedom from all those struggles which we, in our daily lives, greed, jealousy, hatred, and so on and so forth. And that's why Rabindranath Tagore talked about that. I want to visualize a world where my father, my countrymen shall awake beyond those narrow dimensions and things like that. So it's important for us to value the freedom we have today and not to sacrifice it at any cost and for no reason whatsoever. And when the Israel war began about a year and a half ago, it's still raging, and it's unfortunate that for whatever reasons, and this war is going on from Ukraine and whatever it is. I wrote a small piece that when looked at what the television, the YouTube was showing about places being razed down, bombs being sent, missiles being sent, human pain and agony all over. That night I could not really go to sleep and look at what we are doing. I wrote this very small piece, and I would like to read it and then probably say this is how I feel about what violence ought not to be amidst us. The title of this piece, Do Not Make Our God to Flee. When blood is shed on earth ever sweet, of no use to its planted trees, it carries not a name or tag. When life is plucked with weapons mad, it travels not with faith on its head. When limbs are strewn by distant banks, they write no holy scripts about missiles or mindless. When fences made by stories past burn of hatred with meanings none, spit and spat many poisons strong, all books of love on compact burn, identities of divisions made can be of caves dark for clashes blind. Labels soaked in faiths with arms, in holiness can never walk. When playgrounds so vast of all faiths as one, with meanings deep and beauty loft, to tread and dance in trances loft, can human hands with love can draft? Why wet our earth with unholy crafts? Why burden Mother Earth with blinded arms? Why ask Mother Earth to weep endless? Her tears, I say, if heeded not, can command our common God to flee to distant planet to rest in peace. And that, I thought, is a thought for all of us. I think when every one of us, wherever we are, to whichever faith we belong, to whatever way we pray, in whichever way I look at everyone else, if all souls are one, if we understand that, why should we make our common God to flee to a distant planet to rest in peace? That means we are going to lose our God, which is in our heart, to a place where we can never reach. That pain, which I saw that day, continues to be with me. We look at violence all around us. This nation has great traditions in history, despite all the wrongs it has committed against its own brethren and sisters. And therefore, I would probably say that to say all the bad stories and the untold stories which would never recount, we still have those wonderful traditions and cultures of being together, more than 5,000, 7,000 years of culture. I was reading a book written about that Mongolian ruler, and it said that he was probably the inspiration for Thomas Jefferson to talk about common faith, etc. It was so revealing. So we have all those wonderful things happening around us across the world. Why not be party to the spreading more and more of the wonderful love and messages? All that I can say today is when Reverend bishops and fathers and sisters assembled here know much more than me, I asked myself a question, and in this very humble way, if I can spare my little thoughts, and if I can have a little place in any heart somewhere, I'll be the happiest person. And I think that the call for today has come from Jesus Christ. And whenever I pray, in whichever language you pray, in whichever form you pray, whatever words you utter, whichever language you use, I think it hardly matters. I think the spirit of all prayers. So we have so many languages in the world. The spirit of all prayer is understood, I think, is only the yearning of human mind to pray and to reach out to God, which dwells in all our soul. That yearning, I think, is important. That yearning is holy. And I'm sure as a student of law, and even when I go and teach in various schools, I said, the yearning to know what is good for all of us must be the basic understanding of the study of law. If you don't have the yearning to know good for all of us, study of law is just a waste of time. And I think our legal fraternity in India, which is a lot of people from all faiths, and I'm sure with all of them working together, and the wonderful leadership which probably must grow over a period of time, when none of us have differences to talk about, but more agreements to learn about. I think our nation would have risen to greater heights, what Rabindranath Tagore talked about. I'm happy to be here today in my own humble way. I'm sure that I'll be invited more often to share my little thoughts. And then that sharing little thoughts, as I said, there's no creed, no faith, no religion, except understanding for all common humanity. Thank you so much for your attention.